Okay. Fiscal, it is easier to remember. It is related to taxation. Okay. Fiscal measures are related to taxation and government spending. And the third one is physical measures. It is related to production of goods and services, non-monetary measures. I'll take up one by one. Monetary measures, fiscal measures, and physical measures. What are monetary measures? Controlling cost of credit. Okay. One measure under monetary measures is controlling the cost of credit. That is availability of loan. Okay. Now, how the government or the banks, Reserve Bank of India, can control the availability of money to the economy through controlling cost of credit, cost of loans. Okay. One is raising bank rate. That is, you charge higher interest rate on the loans. Okay. If the loans are if the loans become costly, if the interest rate on loans become higher, then borrowing becomes costly and savings becomes attractive. Instead of borrowing money, instead of taking loans, people may deposit money in the banks because the cost of credit, the cost of loan is higher. Then second such measure is controlling availability of credit. How it is done? Controlling availability of credit through open market operations. It is done by the banks, by the government. Okay. Controlling availability of credit, open market operations like selling of government securities by RBI, some bonds. The Reserve Bank of India sells some bonds to the banks like Syndicate Bank, Canara Bank, State Bank of India, Indian Bank, and so on. Selling of government securities by RBI to public or other banks, to public banks or other banks like Karnataka Bank and so on. Which are those securities? Some examples of government securities include FCI bonds, Food Corporation of India, FCI bonds, fertilizer bonds, oil bonds, power bonds, national savings certificate, and so on. When the Reserve Bank of India sells these bonds to the banks, and banks are compelled, they are forced to purchase these bonds, it will be in crores. Okay, it will not be in a few thousands or so, it will be in crores of rupees. Okay, when the banks purchase these bonds, availability of money with the banks to give loans would be reduced. I repeat, when the banks, public banks or private banks, they purchase all these government securities, these bonds, availability of money with the banks to lend, to give loans to public would be reduced. So the availability of credit would be reduced. Why the availability of credit should be reduced? If money flow from banks to public, money flow from banks to the economy reduces, then people have less money to spend. When people have less money to spend, the demand for goods reduces. When the demand for goods reduces, then the prices of goods come down. This is the reason. So one way of controlling availability of credit is open market operations. We'll see which are the other ways. Second such measure to control credit is varying the reserve ratios. Reserve Bank of India fixes some reserve ratios to all the banks, whether it is a public bank or nationalized bank or a private bank. The Reserve Bank of India, it fixes some reserve ratios. I'll mention two such ratios. One is cash reserve ratio. It is fixed by Reserve Bank of India from time to time. It may be 2 or 3 times in a year, or whenever there is a necessity, the Reserve Bank of India, it changes, it varies the cash reserve ratio. What is this cash reserve ratio? It is the amount of funds that the banks have to keep with the Reserve Bank of India. Each and every bank has to keep certain percentage of total deposits it has with the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, that means the banks will not literally take money to those to Reserve Bank of India and keep there. Whatever deposits they have, whatever money they have, certain portion will be in the books of accounts. Okay, in their accounts, they will keep aside for Reserve Bank of India. Now, when they keep some amount for Reserve Bank of India, the availability of money with them to give loan will come down. When the availability of money with the banks come down, they will give less loans, less money would be available with the public, and the demand for goods and services will come down and the prices come down. That is the idea. Now, what would be the cash reserve ratio? Usually, it is less than 10%. Okay, the cash reserve ratio fixed by the Reserve Bank of India varies anywhere from 0 to 10%. So an increase in CRR, that is cash reserve ratio, drains out, takes out excessive money from the economic system. Okay. Then second such reserve ratio fixed by Reserve Bank of India is statutory liquidity ratio. Statutory is compulsory as legally. Okay, liquidity ratio, SLR.
Recording in progress.
Or other securities approved by the government. Okay, and how much they should purchase? It varies from 23 to 40% of their total deposits. Okay, so 10% here, 20 to 30, 40%, 23 to 40% here. So much of money has to be kept aside by the banks and they cannot use it to give loans. Then the supply of money to the economy will be reduced, supply of money to the public will be reduced, money available for spending with the public will be reduced, demand for goods and services reduced, the prices come down. It helps RBI to control the expansion of bank credit. They can control the bank credit. Then third measure is to control the credit, selective credit controls. That means the Reserve Bank of India says you cannot give fresh loans to house construction, or you cannot cross this limit for housing loans, or maybe consumer loans for purchasing cars, for purchasing refrigerators, TVs, and so on. They can put a limit on the loans that the banks can give to all these purposes. So here it is changing the availability, controlling the availability of money, but here it is putting a restriction. You cannot give loans beyond this limit. Okay, so regulation of consumer credit. It may be for purchasing vehicles, construction of loans, education loans, or any type of loans. Then the fourth such measure to control credit is varying the margin requirements. Now, what is the meaning of margin here? Suppose I want 100 rupees loan, okay, for purchasing something. Maybe to purchase a car, I need 100 rupees loan. Now, or to start a business, I may need 100 crore rupees of loan or 100 lakhs of loan. Now, when I submit my application for 100 rupees, the banks will not give me entire 100 rupees. Okay, they will give only say 75 rupees or 80 rupees or 90 rupees. There is some limits fixed by the Reserve Bank of India or limits fixed by the banks themselves. Suppose the banks give only 75% of the loan amount or 75% of the total requirement, funds requirement. The balance 25% I have to contribute. Suppose it is for establishing a mango orchard for agriculture purpose. Suppose I want to establish mango orchard. I have applied for 5 lakh rupees loan. In the project report, in the project report that I submit to bank, I mention the total requirement of capital to establish the mango orchard is 5 lakh rupees. Then the bank will not give entire 5 lakh rupees. They may say 4 lakh rupees, that is 80%, will be the contribution of the bank in the form of loan. Remaining 1 lakh rupees, that is 20%, I should contribute. And that contribution by the farmer, by the borrower, is the margin money. Okay, the contribution of the borrower or the contribution of the farmer in the total project capital requirement is the margin money or the margin requirement. Now, suppose the margin money is increased. Suppose the bank says, we will not give you 80% loan, will give you only 70%. Then money from the bank to the public will be reduced. So when I have to contribute more, I may take less loan. So money availability will be reduced. Okay, these are the various ways of controlling credit. Then coming to fiscal measures. Fiscal measures, I said you should remember two things. One is taxation, taxes, and the other one is government spending. Okay, there are two instruments of fiscal policy. They are, one is government revenues and government expenditure. In the one of the earlier chapters, that is public expenditure and public revenue, we had seen government, the major source of government revenue is taxes and government spending. Okay, now if the rates of direct taxes, that is income tax, wealth tax, and so on, okay, if the rates of direct taxes on incomes and profits are raised, if the tax rates are increased, the private disposable income is reduced. Disposable income is how much money I can spend. If the tax rate increases, then I will have less money to spend. If I spend less money, the demand decreases, prices come down. This will tend to reduce private consumption expenditure if the direct taxes increase. And second one is if the rates of commodity taxes, your GST, okay, if the GST is increased, the effect will be immediate on consumption spending. If the taxes on goods and services increase, I will spend less money because the goods have become costlier. Then third one is reduction in government spending on subsidies, on various schemes. Okay, government spends money, that is reduced. Money available with the public will be reduced. But these two are relatively easy, but government spending, to cut down that, to reduce that, it is not that easy, especially the social expenditure, the MG Narega expenditure, Udyoga Khatri Yojana expenditure, then Jandan Yojana, then all the schemes and subsidies. Recently, it happened with fertilizers, right? So fertilizers prices increased. Immediately, the government was forced to increase the subsidy on fertilizers so that the farmers will not be in difficulty. Okay, so it is very difficult to reduce the government spending, but that is one of the ways to cut down money supply to public or money supply to economy. Then the third one is physical or non-monetary measures, increasing output. Somehow you increase the production of agricultural commodities or whichever commodity whose prices are increasing, whose supply is less than the demand. Okay, increase the output. Or if you cannot increase the production, you substitute production with imports. You import from other countries, decreasing exports so that more goods will be available in the economy, their prices will come down. To increase supply of goods and services, these measures are taken up to increase supply of goods and services. Then second physical measure is controlling money wages. That is controlling the salaries or the wages to keep down the cost, to bring down the cost. If the cost of production comes down, prices will come down. That is the idea. Then price control. You put a ceiling limit on the price. You cannot sell rice at more than 50 rupees per kg. You cannot sell wheat at more than, say, 40 rupees per kg. So that is price control. You fix a maximum price at which the traders can sell the produce to the consumers. That is price control. And rationing. Rationing is you put a limit on how much each family can purchase. Otherwise, fearing that the prices may go up in the future, it may go up further in the future, we may try to purchase more today. So there will be hurry-burry in the market. Everyone tries to purchase as much as possible, fearing a further hike in the price in the near future. Then the prices will go up further and further. To avoid that, rationing, okay, a maximum of 25 kgs of rice per family per month, a maximum of 10 kgs of wheat per month per family. You put some limit on the quantity of produce that can be purchased, rationing. These are all taken up only in the extreme conditions. They are not followed in the regular conditions, but in the extreme conditions, price control and rationing may be brought in. Some related concepts. The other day, Bhanukumar asked me, what is the opposite of inflation? Inflation is rise in prices. Instead of price rising, if the prices go down, if the prices decrease, then it is called as deflation. Deflation is the opposite of inflation. It is the opposite of inflation. Deflation means excessive fall in prices. Excessive rise in prices is inflation. Excessive fall in prices is deflation. It is a situation, deflation is a situation wherein prices of goods and services are falling, decreasing continuously and constantly. Then value of money will be increasing continuously. If there is Likhita, okay. If there is if there is decrease in the value of money, then we call it as inflation. And in case of deflation, the value of money will be increasing. Demand would be less than supply, or supply far exceeds the demand. Supply would be more than the demand, then it may lead to the situation of deflation. Then second related concept is reflation. Okay? Reflation means a moderate degree of controlled inflation. If the inflation is controlled to a moderate level, then it is called as reflation. It is deliberately done by the government to come out of depression. Okay, I have explained what is depression, and then you'll be moving up the business cycles. Okay, everything will be hunky dory, then everything goes down. Okay, to come out of that situation, reflation is deliberately done. Then disinflation, a process of bringing down prices moderately from their high level. Decrease in rate of inflation is disinflation. Disinflation is the process, reflation is the situation. Okay, disinflation is the process and reflation is the condition. So disinflation is the process of bringing down prices moderately from their high level or decrease in the rate of inflation. Stagflation, a situation both stagnation and inflation coexist. Both will be happening simultaneously in the economy. Stagnation, there won't be any change at all. No increase, no decrease. It is same thing, stagnation and inflation. In that situation, inflation rate will be high, economic growth rate slows. Okay, if there is stagnation, the economic growth rate will slow down. The growth rate will come down and unemployment rate remains high. If there is stagnation in the economy, the unemployment rate will be high. If both unemployment and inflation both coexist, then the situation is called as stagflation. One caution we should take up, we should consider when we go for controlling the inflation, the caution is ಎಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ಏನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, any action initiated to bring down inflation may increase unemployment rate and vice versa. Okay, there are chances that if we try to control inflation, the unemployment rate may go up. So what we have to do is we have to try to balance between controlling inflation and keeping the unemployment rate at a lower level. This caution should be taken up because just Reserve Bank of India cannot go on increasing the bank rate, controlling the credit, okay, or increasing the tax and so on. You cannot go on doing it because it may lead to the situation of unemployment. Okay. This is in brief about inflation. Now I'll go to the next chapter. If you have any question, you can ask me. or I'll go to the next chapter.
So nowadays, economists start saying that the government should supply more of money to people, means injecting more of money to the hand.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
then, how it would be helping in controlling that?
in case of depression, whenever there is depression in the economy, okay, people should spend money, because when the depression is there, the demand will be low, prices would be low, profit would be low. When the profit is low, the industrialists or the producers or the businessmen, they are not ready to invest money. They are not ready to increase production. The whole economy will be in nadir. It will be at a very low level. Now, to bring the economy out of that condition, the government should supply money to the public. When the public get money, they start spending money. When they spend money, the demand for the goods increase. When the demand for the goods increase, the prices go up. When the prices go up, the profit level increases. When the profit level increases, the producers, the manufacturers, the businessmen, they come forward to invest more money. When they invest more money, they employ more people to work, because to increase production, they have to employ more people. When more people are employed, the income or the money available with the people will increase. People get money because they are employed, they get wages, they get salary. When the money income increases, people spend more money, more demand, higher price, higher profit level. Then from depression, the economic situation will improve and there'll be growth in the economy. It leads to economic development. That's why people, economists say, in the condition of depression, you supply money to the public. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, we'll take up the next chapter, that is national income. What is the meaning of national income? The different concepts of national income, and who works out, who measures the national income, and the different methods of measuring the national income. Okay. What is national income? National income refers to the aggregate value, total value of all the goods and services produced in a country during a year. Very simple definition. Okay. National income is the total value of all the goods and services produced in a country during a given year. That is the national income. Okay. Definition given by National Income Committee of India in the year 1951 was: national income estimate measures. It is an estimate because you cannot get exact figure. Okay, it is only an estimate. A national income estimate measures the volume of commodities, that is the value of the commodities, okay, commodities and services turned out, produced during a given period, that is 1 year, counted without duplication. Okay, now when you measure the value of different goods and services produced in an economy in a year, there should not be any duplication. Okay, now what do you mean by duplication? I'll give just one crude example to make you understand what is duplication. Suppose farmers produce Repeat what? Now, duplication, to make you understand, we'll take this example. Farmers produce cotton. Okay. Now, from cotton, cotton yarn is produced. From cotton yarn, cloth is manufactured. From cloth, dressing, ready-made dresses are stitched. Okay. Farmers produce cotton. From cotton, yarn is produced. From yarn, cloth is manufactured. From cloth, the dresses, ready-made dresses, your shirts, pants, chudidar, and other dresses are stitched. Now, farmers produce 100 crore rupees worth of cotton. Now, when it is converted into yarn, its value will be 150 crore rupees. Then, the cloth produced in the country in 1 year is 225 crore rupees, the value of cloth. And value of ready-made dresses produced in the country is 400 crore rupees. Now, if you take, because it is summation, 100 crore rupees plus 150 crore rupees plus 225 crore rupees plus 400 crore rupees. So the total national income is 875 crore rupees. It is wrong. It is duplication. It is not so. It is not 875 rupees because now the value of yarn is 150 crore rupees. This 150 crore rupees includes 100 crore rupees worth of cotton. So value addition here is only 50 crore rupees. From 100 crore rupees, it becomes 150 crore rupees. So the addition is only 50 crore rupees. From 150 crore rupees yarn, it becomes 225 crore rupees cloth. So the addition is only 75 crore rupees. And from 225 crore rupees cloth, it becomes 400 crore rupees dress. So the addition is only 175 crore rupees, not 400 crore rupees. So the total national income, suppose cotton is only the good produced in the country, okay? Then 100 crores plus 50 crores plus 75 crores plus 175 crores. So the total national income is only 400 crore rupees, not 875 crore rupees. 100 plus 50, 150, 150 plus 75, 225, 225 plus 175, 400. So you should consider only 400 crore rupees as the national income and not 875 crore rupees. That's why we say value should be considered without duplication. Is it clear? Okay. Now we'll move ahead. Comprehensive definition of national income. So very exhaustive definition, complete definition of national income. It says national income is the aggregate money value, total money value of all goods and services. Okay. Please keep your mic in mute condition. Okay. National income is the total money value of all goods and services produced in a country during a year, counted without duplication, after allowing for wear and tear and depreciation of plant and machinery used in the production. What it means is to produce goods and services, to manufacture goods and services, will be using the machinery. Plant is the unit there, the industry, okay, the factory. Factory can be a plant. So wear and tear, saudu hogutte. All the machines, the buildings, everything, they get wear and tear. Saudu hogtave, haledag hogtave, okay, wear and tear and depreciation. Their value decreases. So when their value decreases and they become old, they become junk, they become useless, then those machineries, factories have to be replaced with newer ones. So that amount has to be deducted. That has to be taken care of. And after having taken into account income derived from abroad, now Tata company, Infosys company, Reliance company, they have their own units in other countries. They have industries in other countries. They receive money from there. They produce goods and services in other countries and they receive income to India. So that should also be included. I repeat, national income is the aggregate money value of all goods and services produced in a country during a year, counted without duplication, after making allowance for wear and tear and depreciation of all the factories, plants, and machineries used in the production, and also considering the income earned from abroad, from other countries. That is the national income. What are all the alternative concepts, different concepts of national income? One is GNP, Gross National Product, NNP, Net National Product. Third one is GDP, Gross Domestic Product. Fourth one is NDP, Net Domestic Product. Fifth one is NI, National Income. Sixth one is PI, Personal Income. Seventh one is DI, Disposable Income. And the last one is PCI, Per Capita Income, Per Head Income. So Gross National Product, Net National Product, Gross Domestic Product, Net Domestic Product, National Income, Personal Income, Disposable Income, and Per Capita Income. These 8 are the alternative concepts of national income. We'll try to see what each one means. Gross national product, the first one. It is the aggregate market value of all final goods and services produced by the nationals of a country during a year. Not only within the country, but also outside the country. Now, one word that is stressed here is of all the final goods and services. Okay, now suppose it is a car. It is the value of the car. We don't consider the value of steerings, tires, seats, doors, body of the car, and so on, produced and kept for manufacturing car, for assembling and manufacturing car next year. No. So the intermediate goods and services are not considered. We consider only the final goods and services that are produced within a given year. Not only within the country, but also outside the country. So if you can write it in the form of an expression, gross national product is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus C. X minus M refers to exports and imports. R minus P refers to income earned by Indians outside and outsiders earned within India. Okay. Now we'll look into each one of them. What is the meaning of C, I, G, X minus M and R minus P? C is the value of all final consumer goods and services which are currently produced. Okay, value of all final consumer goods and services which are currently produced. It may be food, it may be all your other grocery items, it may be all your consumer items like refrigerators, TV, water bottles, and many things. Okay, that is C. I, value of all capital goods produced. What is capital? Capital is something, a resource which is produced by man, which is used for further production. It is a good which is produced by man, which is used for further production, not spare parts or components. When we say capital goods, it includes machines. Machines are final goods. Okay, machines are final goods. So machines, then buildings, all equipments, okay, they're all capital goods. So I represents such capital goods. Then G, value of all government services measured in terms of government expenditure on goods and services for the benefit of the community. Government also purchases goods and services. It spends money for the benefit of the public. That is G. X, value of total exports. M, value of total imports. R, income received from abroad. Many Indians, they work in Gulf countries, in Arab countries, in America, in different countries. They send money to India. Okay, that is income received from abroad earned by our nationals, Indians working outside or doing business, manufacturing something outside. P is the income paid by nationals, that is Indians making payment to foreigners who work here, who take back the money to their countries. Okay, this is GNP. Now, here we say final goods. One thing we should remember, second-hand sales should not be considered. Suppose I purchase second-hand car and one of the students, he purchases a second-hand motorbike or a car or a second-hand bicycle or a second-hand laptop. It will not be considered in national income because suppose I purchase a car, second-hand car of 2015 model. 2015 model, that means manufactured in the year 2015. I should not consider in the national income this year, though I purchase it this year, because the value of that car has already been considered in the year 2015. Okay, the value was already considered in the year 2015. Suppose I consider it again when I purchase it as second-hand car, it will be duplication of the value. Okay, so second-hand sales are not included because they do not reflect current production, this year's production. They involve double counting, duplication, double counting. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, could you please repeat once again, sir, that the letter P, income paid by nationals.
Which one?
Letter P.
P. Okay. Indians make payment to foreigners. Indians making payment to foreigners. Okay. Foreigners, they invest money in India. Suppose foreigners purchase shares in Indian companies and Indian companies they pay dividend to them, money goes out of the country. So that has to be reduced.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Uh,
Did you get that?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, net national product. Net national product is the national income evaluated at market price. The definition or simple meaning of net national product is GNP tends to give a somewhat exaggerated picture, bloated picture, exaggerated picture of current year's production because it does not make allowance in the current year's output necessary to replace the capital goods used up in the year's production. Okay. Now, in the very beginning, when we gave the comprehensive definition, complete definition of national income, we said make allowance for the depreciation, decrease in the value, wear and tear of plants and machinery, right? So in the definition of GNP, we did not consider depreciation. We did not deduct depreciation. So now that depreciation amount, reduction in the value of those machineries and the plants, buildings, and so on, okay, that has to be done here. So GNP tends to give, since the depreciation value is already there in the GNP, it is an exaggerated figure. It is a bloated figure. Okay, GNP tends to give a somewhat exaggerated picture of current year's production because it does not make allowance in the current year's output necessary to replace the capital goods. Capital goods, machineries, and other things, they become wear and tear. Okay, they become less and less useful. They have to be replaced. So for that, allowance has to be made. So this error is rectified by deducting, this mistake is corrected by deducting depreciation value from GNP and estimating NNP. So therefore, NNP is equal to GNP minus depreciation of fixed costs. Suppose if you are not clear about depreciation, the meaning of depreciation, you purchase a tractor, okay? You purchase a tractor for agriculture purpose, and suppose you pay 4 lakh rupees for the tractor, new tractor, 4 lakh rupees, and you don't use it at all. You construct a shed, tractor shed, keep the tractor inside the shed, clean it every day, perform puja, prati divsa puja madi, aarti belgi, and you don't use it at all. Even then, next year, if you want to sell that tractor, nobody will pay you 4 lakh rupees. Though you have paid 4 lakh rupees and purchased it, no wear and tear, no damage, it is brand new, you have cleaned it every day, but still after 1 year, its value will not be the same. The value will be lesser. If you have paid 3 lakh rupees this year, next year if you want to sell it even without using it, the customer will pay only 3 lakh rupees and not 4 lakh rupees. This decrease in the value of an asset because of wear and tear, because of use, because of accidental damage, nothing has happened. Then, because of time obsolescence, it becomes old model. It becomes old model. Okay? Because of time factor also, the value of a good or value of an asset comes down. That is depreciation. Now, when you purchase fertilizer, how do you take the cost of fertilizer? How do you consider the cost of fertilizer? the price you have paid, the money you have paid to purchase one bag of fertilizer and apply to field, the value itself is taken as cost of producing paddy in that year. But if you use a tractor and the value of tractor is 4 lakh rupees, you cannot take entire 4 lakh rupees as cost of producing paddy in that year, because you will be using the tractor for the next 15 years, 10 or 15 years. So you cannot take 4 lakh rupees as cost of using tractor in one season or 1 year. So instead of that, what we do is we take the depreciation amount as the cost of using tractor. Okay. Now, every year, the value of the tractor or pump set or sprayer, it goes on decreasing. That decrease in the value is taken as cost of using that machinery or equipment. That is depreciation. Okay. So GNP minus depreciation of fixed cost, fixed assets gives you NNP, net national product. So depreciation allowance is also referred to as capital consumption allowance. Capital is consumed, machinery is consumed in production, equipments are consumed in production, buildings, factories are consumed in production. So it is called as capital consumption allowance. NNP indicates the growth of the economy. Okay. So NNP is GNP net of depreciation of fixed assets minus depreciation of fixed assets. Then gross domestic product. The word domestic itself suggests the meaning. Domestic means within the country. In GNP, what we did, we considered income earned by Indians outside, then income paid by Indians to outsiders. But when we say domestic product, that outside income is not considered. Okay, so within the country, whatever that is produced within the country only is considered in gross domestic product. That's why we use the word domestic. So GDP is the total value of final goods and services produced within the country and measured at market prices during a year. Whatever the price of that good in the market this year, okay, market prices during a year. So GDP is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. What we have left out here compared to GNP, R minus P is not taken. R minus P is not considered. If you leave out R minus P from GNP, it becomes GDP produced within the country. Then net domestic product, NDP. GNP minus depreciation, NNP. GDP minus depreciation gives you NDP, net domestic product. So NDP refers to GDP minus depreciation of fixed assets. So NDP is equal to GDP minus depreciation. National income. Okay. When we say national income, it is the national income at factor cost. What is factor? Factor is the input, the resource. Which are all the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and management or organization. These four are the factors of production. The next chapter is on factors of production. We'll look into details of each one: land, labor, capital, and management. Okay. Now, it is the national income at factor cost. So cost of land, cost of labor, cost of capital, and cost of management or organization. So national income at factor cost. National net product has one component which does not reflect the current production contributions of economic resources. Economic resources are land, labor, capital, and management or organization. That is indirect taxes. Okay. Now, when we say value of a good, it includes the indirect taxes also. Now, all the indirect taxes are converted into, changed into GST. Okay. Now, so the national net product has one component which does not reflect the current production contribution. Indirect tax is not a contribution to production. It is a contribution taken by the government on the value of the produce. It is not contribution to the production. Okay. So indirect taxes are subtracted from NNP. It has to be deducted from net national product. Sometimes the government provides subsidy. When the government provides subsidy, the value of the good will be lesser. Now, when the government gives subsidy on fertilizer, suppose the price of fertilizer is 1,000 rupees per bag and government gives 200 rupees subsidy, then the value of fertilizer per bag fertilizer will be only 800 rupees. So your national income shows only 800 rupees, but actual it is 1,000 rupees because of 200 rupees subsidy. Now, so the market value would decrease. So we have to add subsidy amount. Indirect tax has to be deducted because indirect tax is not a contribution. Subsidy has to be added because subsidy reduces the actual value of the produce in the market. So national income is equal to net national product minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. You deduct indirect taxes, you add subsidies to net national product, you'll get the national income. So national income refers to the sum of all incomes earned by resource suppliers for their contribution of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurial ability, which are used in the year's net production. So income for the supply of land is rent. Income for the supply of labor is wages. Income for the supply of capital is interest. And income for the supply of entrepreneurial ability or management or organization is profit. So national income includes rent, wages, interest, and profit. So rent, wages, interest plus profit is equal to national income. That's why we say national income is a measure at factor cost. I'll stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll stop here.
So,
Yeah.
so you told that NNP is equals to GMP minus depreciation of fixed assets. So,
Yeah.
like if we are not using a commodity which we have bought in the previous year, yet its price is not the same in the coming year. So, like, but if it happens like the same model's price sees a hike in the prices in the coming years because of its more demand, because of more purchasing. Like,
I think I defined the meaning of depreciation. Depreciation is decrease in the value of an asset because of use, wear and tear, accidental damage, and time obsolescence. And it is not related to inflation.
Means so the time gap doesn't pay any cost in the model hike price or
No, no, no,
demand or
no.
something like that.
The value will not increase, value will decrease. Suppose you purchase a car today, after 2 years, even if you don't use, will its value increase? No, no,
No.
no. Its value will decrease. Only in one case, the value will increase. Instead of depreciation, there will be appreciation. Can you guess? In one case, instead of depreciation, there will be appreciation, increase in the value.
Sisha, sound cut Grishma.
Saying land price or building price.
No, building also the value decreases.
But sir, if the cost of
Don't consider inflation. Don't consider inflation. Okay.
no sir, I'm not okay.
The value of building. Suppose tomorrow you want to purchase a building which was constructed last year, you will pay less. Okay. So value decreases. Only in one case the value increases. That is in case of livestock, animals. In case of animals, the value increases. Suppose you have 1-year-old calf. Next year it becomes 2 years old. The value increases. So till the age of 8 years or 9 years, the value increases. After 8th or 9th year, the value of animals decrease. So initially there would be appreciation in case of animals, and later on there will be depreciation in case of animals. But other assets, the value decreases. It will not increase. Don't consider the increase in value in the market because of the market prices. That is different.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Take care. Take care.
Record.